Arthur Conan Doyle, The Return of Sherlock Holmes. The Adventure of the Priory School, Part 2. We carefully examined the boy's room, but found nothing except the clear fact that he could only have escaped through the window. The German teacher's room and belongings gave us no new clue. In his case, a piece of ivy had broken under his weight. By the light of a lantern, we saw the mark on the grass where his heels had landed. That one mark in the short green grass was the only real sign left of this strange escape during the night. Sherlock Holmes left the house alone and did not return until after 11 o'clock. He had got a large military map of the area. He brought it into my room and spread it on the bed. He placed the lamp in the middle and began to smoke while studying it. From time to time, he pointed at places on the map with his pipe. "This case is becoming more interesting, Watson," he said. "There are some important points here. At this early stage, I want you to understand the geography, because it may be very important for our investigation. Look at this map. This dark square is the Priory School. I will put a pin there. Now this line is the main road. You can see that it runs east and west past the school. You can also see that there is no side road for a mile in either direction. If these two people left by road, it must have been this road." "Exactly. By a lucky chance, we can partly check what happened on this road that night. At this point, where my pipe is now, a local policeman was on duty from midnight to 6 in the morning. As you see, it is the first crossing on the east side. The man says he did not leave his place for a moment, and he is sure that neither a boy nor a man passed that way without being seen. I spoke to this policeman tonight, and he seems completely reliable. So that side is closed. Now we look at the other side. There is an inn here, the Red Bull. The landlady was ill. She had sent for a doctor from Mackleton, but he only arrived in the morning because he was busy with another patient. The people at the inn stayed awake all night, waiting for him, and one of them was always watching the road. They say that no one passed. If they are right, then we are lucky, because we can close the west side too, and say that the two people did not use the road at all." "But the bicycle?" I objected. Yes, we will speak about the bicycle soon. Let us continue our reasoning. If these people did not go by the road, they must have crossed the land to the north or to the south of the house. That is certain. Let us compare both sides. To the south of the house, as you can see, there is a large area of farmland. It is divided into small fields with stone walls between them. A bicycle cannot be used there, so we can forget that idea. Now we look to the north. There is a group of trees called the Ragged Shaw. Beyond that is a wide open moor, Lower Gill Moor. It stretches for 10 miles and slowly rises. On one side of this wild land is Holderness Hall. It is 10 miles by road, but only 6 miles across the moor. It is a very empty place. A few farmers live there and keep sheep and cattle. Apart from them, only birds live there until you reach the Chesterfield Road. There is a church there, a few houses, and an inn. Beyond that, the hills become very steep. It is clear that we must search to the north." "But the bicycle?" I repeated. Well, said Holmes, a little impatiently. "A good cyclist does not need a main road. The moor has many paths, and the moon was full. Hello, what is this?" There was a quick knock at the door, and immediately Dr. Huxtable came in. He was holding a blue cricket cap with a white mark on the front. "At last we have a clue," he cried. "Thank God, we are finally on the boy's track. This is his cap." "Where was it found?" "In a wagon of some gypsies who were camping on the moor. They left on Tuesday. Today the police found them and searched their wagon. They found this." "What did they say about it?" They avoided the truth and told lies. They said they found it on the moor on Tuesday morning. They know where he is, those criminals. Thank goodness they are all in prison now. Either fear of the law or the Duke's money will make them tell everything they know. So far so good, said Holmes, after the doctor had left the room. At least this supports the idea that we must search on the side of Lower Gill Moor. The police have done almost nothing here, except arrest these gypsies. Look here, Watson. There is a stream across the moor. You can see it marked on the map. In some places, it becomes a swamp. This is especially true in the area between Holderness Hall and the school. In this dry weather, it is useless to look for tracks elsewhere. But at that place, there is a good chance that something has been left behind. I will wake you early tomorrow morning, and we will see if we can discover something and understand this mystery better. The day was just beginning when I woke up and saw the long, thin shape of Holmes standing by my bed. He was already dressed and had clearly been outside. I have checked the lawn and the bicycle shed, he said. I have also walked through the ragged shaw. Now, Watson, there is cocoa ready in the next room. Please hurry, because we have a long day ahead. His eyes were bright, and his face was full of energy. He looked like a man ready for work. He was very different from the quiet and pale thinker of Baker Street. As I looked at his flexible body, full of nervous energy, I felt that a hard day was waiting for us. But the day began with great disappointment. With high hopes, we walked across the brown moor, full of many sheep paths, until we reached a wide, light green area. This showed the swamp between us and Holderness. If the boy had gone home, he must have passed this place, and he could not have done so without leaving tracks. But there was no sign of him or the German. Holmes walked along the edge, watching carefully for any marks in the wet ground. There were many sheep tracks, and in one place, some miles away, cows had left their marks. But nothing more. First failure, said Holmes, looking sadly across the wide moor. There is another swamp over there, with a narrow path between. Hello, 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 what is this? We came to a narrow, dark path. In the middle of it, clearly visible in the wet ground, was the track of a bicycle. Hurrah! I cried. We have found it! But Holmes shook his head. He looked thoughtful, not happy. A bicycle, yes, but not the bicycle, he said. I know 42 different tire marks. This one is a Dunlop tire, with a patch on the outside. Heidegger's tires were Palmer's, which leave long, straight lines. Aveling, the mathematics teacher, was sure about that. So this is not Heidegger's track. Then it is the boy's? I said. Possibly, if we could prove that he had a bicycle, but we have no proof of that. This track, as you can see, was made by someone riding away from the school. Or towards it? No, my dear Watson. The deeper mark is from the back wheel, because that carries more weight. You can see places where it has crossed over and covered the lighter mark of the front wheel. So the rider was clearly going away from the school. This may or may not be important for our case, but we will follow it back before we go further. We followed it, but after a few hundred yards, the tracks disappeared when we left the wet ground. As we followed the path back, we found another place where water crossed it. There we saw the bicycle mark again, although it was almost gone because cows had walked over it. After that, there was no more sign. But the path continued into the ragged shaw, the wood behind the school. The bicycle must have come from there. Holmes sat down on a rock and rested his chin in his hands. I smoked 2 cigarettes before he moved. Well, he said at last. It is possible that a clever man could change the tire of his bicycle to leave different tracks. A criminal who can think like that is someone I would respect. We will leave this question for now and go back to the swamp, because there is still much to check. We continued to examine the edge of the wet part of the moor, and soon our effort was rewarded. Across the lower part of the swamp there was a muddy path. Holmes cried out with excitement when he saw it. In the middle of the path was a mark like a bundle of thin lines. It was the mark of a Palmer tire. "Here is Herr Heidegger, without doubt," cried Holmes happily. "My reasoning was quite correct, Watson." "I congratulate you. But we still have a long way to go. Please walk beside the path. Now let us follow the track. I am afraid it may not go very far." As we went on, we saw that this part of the moor had many soft areas. Even when we lost the track, we always found it again. "Do you see," said Holmes, "that the rider is now going faster?" "There is no doubt. Look at this mark, where both tires are clear. They are equally deep. That means the rider is leaning forward on the handlebars, as a man does when he rides very fast. By heaven, he has fallen." There was a wide, messy mark across part of the path. Then we saw some footprints, and after that, the tire mark appeared again. "He slipped," I said. Holmes lifted a broken branch of yellow flowers. I was shocked to see that the flowers were covered with blood. On the path and among the plants, there were also dark stains of dried blood. "Bad," said Holmes. "Very bad. Be careful, Watson. Do not step where it is not necessary. What can I see here?" He fell while injured, then he stood up, got back on the bicycle, and continued. "But there are no other tracks. There are cow tracks on this path. Was he hurt by a bull? That seems impossible. But I see no sign of anyone else. We must go on, Watson. With both the blood and the track, we should be able to find him now." We did not have to search long. The tire marks began to turn in strange directions on the wet path. Suddenly, I saw something shining in the bushes. We pulled out a bicycle with Palmer tires. One pedal was bent, and the front of the bicycle was covered with blood. On the other side of the bushes, part of a shoe was visible. We ran around and found the rider lying there. He was a tall man with a full beard and glasses, but one lens was broken. He had died from a terrible blow to the head, which had crushed part of his skull. The fact that he had continued after such an injury showed how strong and brave he was. He wore shoes but no socks, and under his open coat he had a nightshirt. It was clearly the German teacher. Holmes turned the body over carefully and examined it closely. Then he sat in deep thought for a while. I could see from his troubled face that this terrible discovery had not helped our investigation very much. "It is a little difficult to decide what to do, Watson," he said at last. "I would like to continue the investigation, because we have already lost a lot of time and cannot lose another hour. On the other hand, we must inform the police and make sure this poor man's body is taken care of. I could take a message back, but I need your help here. Wait, there is a man cutting peat over there. Bring him here, and he can guide the police." I brought the local man over, and Holmes gave him a note for Dr. Huxtable and sent him away. "Now, Watson," he said, "we have found 2 clues this morning. One is the bicycle with the Palmer tire, and we see where that has led. The other is the bicycle with the patched Dunlop tire. Before we investigate that, let us think carefully about what we already know. We must separate what is important from what is not. First, I want you to understand that the boy left by his own choice. He climbed down from his window and went away, either alone or with someone. That is certain." I agreed. "Now let us think about the unfortunate German teacher. The boy was fully dressed when he left, so he planned his action. But the German left without his socks, so he acted quickly and without planning. That is clear. Why did he leave? because from his window he saw the boy leaving. He wanted to catch him and bring him back. He took his bicycle, followed the boy, and during this chase, he died. That seems right. Now we come to the most important part. If a man runs after a small boy, he would normally run because he knows he can catch him. But the German did not run. He used his bicycle. We know he was a very good cyclist. He would not choose the bicycle unless he believed the boy had a fast way to escape. The other bicycle. Let us continue. He died 5 miles from the school. He was not killed by a gun, which even a boy might use, but by a strong blow from a powerful person. So the boy had someone with him, and they were moving fast, because it took 5 miles before an expert cyclist could catch them. But when we look at the place where he died, what do we see? Only some cattle tracks, nothing more. I searched a wide area, and there is no path within 50 yards. Another cyclist could not have been there at the moment of the murder. And there were no human footprints either. "Holmes," I cried, "this is impossible." "Excellent," he said. "A very helpful remark. It is impossible as I have explained it, so I must be wrong in some way. But you saw it yourself. Can you suggest any mistake? He could not have broken his skull in a fall? In a swamp, Watson? I do not know what to think." Well, well, we have solved more difficult problems. At least we have enough facts, if we can use them properly. Now, we have finished with the Palmer tire, so let us see what the Dunlop tire with the patch can tell us. We found the track again and followed it for some distance. Soon the ground rose, covered with heather, and we left the stream behind. There were no more tracks to help us. At the place where we last saw the Dunlop tire, the path could lead either to Holderness Hall, whose tall towers stood some miles to our left, or to a small gray village in front of us, near the Chesterfield Road. As we came closer to a dirty and unpleasant inn, with the picture of a fighting cock above the door, Holmes suddenly groaned and grabbed my shoulder to stop himself from falling. He had twisted his ankle badly. With difficulty, he limped to the door, where a short, dark, older man was smoking a pipe. "How are you, Mr. Reuben Hayes?" said Holmes. "Who are you, and how do you know my name?" the man asked, with a suspicious look in his sharp eyes. "Well, it is written on the sign above your head. It is easy to see a man who owns his house. I suppose you do not have a carriage in your stables?" "No, I do not. I can hardly stand on my foot." "Then do not stand on it." "But I cannot walk." "Then hop." Mr. Reuben Hayes was not polite, but Holmes stayed calm and friendly. "Listen, my man," he said. "This is a difficult situation for me. I do not mind how I travel." "I do not mind either," said the unfriendly landlord. "This is an important matter. I will give you £1 if I can use a bicycle." The landlord became interested. "Where do you want to go?" "To Holderness Hall." "You must be friends of the Duke," said the landlord, looking at our dirty clothes with a mocking expression. Holmes laughed kindly. "He will be glad to see us." "Why?" "Because we bring news about his missing son." The landlord suddenly reacted strongly. "What? You are following his trail?" "He has been heard of in Liverpool. They expect to find him any moment." Again the man's face changed quickly. He became friendly. "I have no reason to like the Duke," he said, "because I once worked as his head coachman and he treated me very badly. He dismissed me because of a lie from a grain seller. But I am glad to hear that the young lord has been seen in Liverpool, and I will help you take the news to the hall." "Thank you," said Holmes. "We will eat first. Then you can bring the bicycle." "I do not have a bicycle." Holmes showed him a gold coin. "I tell you, man, I do not have one. I can give you 2 horses to take you to the hall." "Well, well," said Holmes. "We will speak about it after we eat." When we were alone in the stone kitchen, it was surprising how quickly Holmes's injured ankle improved. It was almost evening, and we had not eaten since early morning, so we took our time with the meal. Holmes was deep in thought. Once or twice he went to the window and looked out carefully. It opened onto a dirty yard. In one corner there was a blacksmith shop where a dirty young man was working. On the other side were the stables. Holmes had just sat down again when he suddenly jumped up with a loud cry. "By heaven, Watson, I think I understand it," he cried. "Yes, yes, it must be so. Watson, do you remember seeing any cow tracks today?" "Yes, several." "Where?" "Well, everywhere. They were in the swamp, on the path, and near the place where poor Heidegger died." "Exactly. Now, Watson, how many cows did you actually see on the moor?" "I do not remember seeing any." "Strange, Watson. We saw tracks everywhere, but not a single cow on the moor. Very strange, is it not?" "Yes, it is strange." "Now, Watson, think carefully. Try to remember those tracks on the path." "Yes, I remember them." "Do you remember that sometimes the tracks looked like this? He made a line of breadcrumbs like this, and sometimes like this, and sometimes like this. D. Do you remember that?" "No, I do not." "But I do. I am sure of it. Still, we will go back later and check it. I cannot believe I did not understand this sooner." "And what is your conclusion?" "Only that it is a very strange cow that can walk, run slowly, and run fast." By George, Watson, this was not the idea of a simple village man. The way seems clear now, except for that boy in the blacksmith shop. Let us go out quietly and take a closer look. There were 2 rough, untidy horses in the old stable. Holmes lifted the back leg of one of them and laughed. Old horseshoes, but newly fixed. Old shoes, but new nails. This case will be a famous one. Let us go to the blacksmith shop.